Do you want to become 1% better at anything you want each day? Or you want to become more productive and time efficient? Do you struggle to break your bad habits and create new, good ones? If the answer is yes, this review was made for you. My name is Weronika and welcome to our new YouTube series where we explore the Investors Podcast Network's favorite books. The Investors Podcast Network is all about investing, where we share with you all kinds of guidelines and ideas on how to grow financially and personally. In his book, Atomic Habits, with over 3 million copies sold, James Clear breaks down the 4 steps of an easy way to implement new habits and break the old ones. He also explains the 4 laws of behavior change, shedding light on how exactly to change your daily habits. He backs up the mechanism of our behaviors in each stage of making or breaking a habit by including various research results, social experiments, and tests derived from psychology and neuroscience. The book Atomic Habits provides a handful of practical how-to tips on how to improve your self-development journey to share that at first these small changes lead to bigger wins that multiply to a degree that outweighs the cost of their initial investment. I would like to share my top 6 tips that I got out of this book and that I think could change your routine so you have more time for yourself to do what you actually enjoy in life. Atomic habits. Even though they're tiny, they have an impact on our life. When we think of our daily habits, we probably don't pay too much attention to details like whether the habits are actually good or harmful to us. Whether it's smoking cigarettes or listening to music when taking a shower, we just do it automatically. Our daily routine consists of multiple habits. Some help us grow, become healthier or more productive, and some can be harmful to our physical or mental health. Nevertheless, we seldom notice them because they seem so insignificant. In contrast, the backbone of Clear's book is for everyone to realize how much all of these tiny habits influence our relationships, career, health, and feeling of fulfillment. This is why he claims it's vital to understand that small daily routine changes here and there can actually make a difference. If you can get 1% better at anything you want each day, after just a year you can see a tremendous difference and end up being 37 times better at something. The same goes for repeating mistakes every day and drifting away from our original aim by doing things that don't lead us to it. You just continue the vicious cycle over and over every day if you don't take the first step of noticing what you need to stop doing. You could make a list of your habits to track them. Habits shape your identity. Now, we all know how difficult it can be to start a new habit, break an old one, or maintain one. First of all, it's crucial to realize that habits appear to be insignificant until you cross this magical critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance. Just like when practicing playing piano, at first you just feel like you're not getting any better. But then suddenly, after countless tries, you actually feel more comfortable and self-confident. Thanks to repeating this activity so many times, you notice the positive impact of being consistent and patient. And the breakthrough moments are usually the result of multiple previous actions. Second of all, the best form of motivation is when a habit becomes a part of your identity. When you are committed to your beliefs, you are proud of what you do, you are the most motivated to perform in a certain way, thus maintaining your habits which are associated with these feelings and beliefs. If you want to be a musician, you just practice playing an instrument you like. Practicing music will lead you to become who you want to become and incorporate music into your identity. This is why this is the most effective way to change your habits, just by focusing on who you wish to become and not on what you want to achieve. Decide the type of a person you want to be and then prove it to yourself in small steps. 4 steps of how a brain creates a habit. James Clear states that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. And just like the same way money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. The interesting part is why your brain wants to repeat an activity so many times so it becomes automatic. The process of building a habit can be divided into 4 simple steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior of predicting and looking for a reward. Then there is a craving, which is the motivational force behind every habit. If we really crave something, we have a reason to act. Then there is a step number 3, which is the response. The response is the actual habit you perform depending on how motivated you are to engage your mental or physical effort to it. The last step, number 4, is a reward. Rewards are the end goals of every habit. They bring us satisfaction and they teach us for the future. It has been proven that behaviors followed by satisfying consequences tend to be repeated, and those that produce unpleasant consequences are less likely to be repeated. The 4 laws of behavior change. If you ever struggled figuring out how to approach making changes in your daily routine to result in reaching your goals easier and quicker, this is a step-by-step pattern to follow. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. To make it obvious, you need to be aware of your behavior and realize what you're doing. You could make lists or scoreboards tracking your activity. You could also link one habit with another one being performed right afterwards, so you connect them and don't forget about them. If you want to break a bad habit, the first thing you should do is to be on the lookout for it. And once you spot it and are aware of it, you can do something about it. To make it attractive, you can create a motivation ritual by doing something you enjoy immediately before performing a difficult habit, so your brain builds this correlation for the future. If you want to break a bad habit, you should do the inversion of the second law by reframing your mindset. You should focus on highlighting the benefits of avoiding your bad habits. To make it easy, it is important to design your environment. Whether we talk about the actual room you're in and configuring it in a way your brain gets proper cues to perform the right way, or whether we talk about being around people who motivate you to perform your habits. You could, for example, join a team of people gathering to do the same activity as you want to do. This way, you will stay energized, motivated, and on track with implementing your habit. The same goes for breaking a bad habit. You redesign the environment you're in so you don't get cues and people who demotivate you. For example, you could clean up your working space right after you're done with work. This way, you prepare a clear and clean space for the future you, for the next time you want to work without being overwhelmed. Sometimes we are not even aware how much our environment, like our social circle, influences our approach and decisions, which we were taught to mimic ever since we were small kids. Maximizing the odds of success. Many of us ask ourselves a question: what is it that I'm good at that could lead me to high returns? If we talk about business, career, and making money, or even hobbies, we search for something we enjoy doing and get pleasure from doing. However, still many of us don't succeed in finding it. The very secret to maximizing the odds of success, according to James Clear, is choosing the right field of competition. You become more motivated, the habits are easier to perform and more satisfying to stick with when they align with your abilities and predispositions. To find the right areas of your natural abilities to outstanding performance, you need to ask yourself, what is it that feels fun to you, but like work to others? What makes you lose track of time so the world fades away when you do your thing? Or finally, what provides you greater returns than an average person? Once you specify that, you are able to spot a field of interest or a skill set that could only bring value and make your performance stand out significantly compared to others. However, on the other hand, If you can't win by being better, win by being different. Which means that if you feel like there is no space for you to join and no path to follow, create one. Don't be afraid to be unique and create a field or activity you feel great at and you love doing. This way, you will get more motivation by being a pioneer and leading the way for others in the future. This is a great way to stick to whatever you make your habits because you grow, notice the progress of evolution, and possibly become an authority at some point. Creating a good habit and breaking a bad one. Most of us want to start new habits but don't know where to begin, or we want to get rid of the bad ones, which take control over our life. Well, if you struggle with either of them, first you need to embrace that there are many different ways to address the same underlying motive. For example, if you smoke cigarettes with the purpose of feeling that you belong, fit in the group of colleagues at work, you actually harm yourself. You smoke even though you hate it, you feel pressure, and it causes serious consequences to your future health. The underlying motive is to be a part of a community and feel involved in a group. In fact, there are different ways to address the same motive. Instead, you could gather a group of colleagues to play sports together and take over the leadership role to motivate the group and make a positive change. This way, you get to break a bad habit and replace it with a productive one. And the best part is, your underlying motive and desire are fulfilled. Another example could be that you feel you spend too much money right after you get your salary paid out. You feel that you want to belong in your community and social circle, so you spend on artificial goods, which at the end of the day bring no value to your life. Instead, you could put 20% of your disposable income in your savings account. This way, you will at least start taking control of your spendings right at the moment you receive your check, rather than throwing a big chunk of it away under peer or social pressure. This way, by such a tiny change, you become more hands-on with your finances and may have taken the first steps to maintain the control of systematic monthly planning of your household's finances. The book focuses on a concept of continuous improvement by making tiny changes in our lives to mark outstanding results. If you feel you want to grow and improve the quality of your everyday, this book is for you, and it brings you simple answers how to change your approach and keep it motivated. I believe this book is a step-by-step guide to becoming more aware of who you are now, who you want to become, and it provides the tools on how to get there. Our everyday consists of tiny actions, small but crucial decisions, which lead to fulfilling every single hour of our schedule. The key is to look at what we do in a day and spot what could be done better in order to change the way we are and become who we wish to be. This book certainly serves easy to implement frameworks that are going to help you with that. And remember, if you can't win by being better, win by being different. This is the Investors Podcast Network. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. Let me know in the comments if you also struggle with some of your habits. Have you ever felt taken advantage of when negotiating a price when selling or buying something? Have you ever been under pressure from dirty tactics applied by someone you negotiated with? Or maybe you just want to learn how to get what you want. If so, this video was made for you.